Greetings, historians, and welcome back to House of Ideas Historian. So, a little bit ago, I talked about what I wanted to see from the MCU in the future. I detailed that in this video right here. And it kind of got me thinking. I really love the MCU just as much as I love comics, so what other things could I talk about? And it got me thinking, the MCU does a whole lot of things right, but sometimes it doesn't quite get things on the mark. And I really started thinking about the rogue gallery, the villains. There's a lot of great ones out there. Red Skull, Thanos, Loki. There's a couple MCU villains that didn't quite meet the match for me. So here are 5 times that I think the MCU really messed up iconic villains. I'm going to tell you about that right now. Baron Zemo is one of Captain America's greatest villains. We see him all the way throughout Marvel's history. Baron Heinrich Zemo was first given to us in the early years of Marvel in 1964 in Avengers number 4 as part of a flashback scene. Baron Heinrich Zemo was Captain America's foe in World War II and was the reason Cap was frozen in ice and for Bucky's apparent death. After his father died in 1965 in Avengers number 15, Baron Helmut Zemo took up where his father left off. Baron Zemo has been very widely connected to 2 central themes from the very beginning of his character. One of Nazi Germany and Hydra, and the other being the Masters of Evil. Helmut even started the Thunderbolts. Baron Zemo is a character with so much history and so much awesome material to work with. That's why the character that we saw on the silver screen in Captain America Civil War was simply a big swing and a miss. His origins were indeed tragic, and his motivations did make sense. Heck, his plan wasn't even a bad one. That being said, this is not Baron Zemo. No Adhesive X, no Masters of Evil, no Hydra, not even a purple hood. Now there might be a glimmer of hope coming from Disney Plus, but as it stands, what we saw in Captain America Civil War was not the Baron Zemo I know and love. Ghost is a very mysterious character. To this day, we still don't know his true identity, knowing him simply as the Ghost. We met Ghost for the first time in Iron Man number 219 in 1987. We may not know much about him personally, but we do know about his motivations. In his past, Ghost was an IT researcher with a breakthrough technology that allows him to phase through walls. Unfortunately, corporate greed worked him to his breaking point. The death of his girlfriend was the end of it for him. He turned to a life of villainy, his one goal to take down capitalism. Naturally, he disdained Tony Stark for his fortune and his company. The MCU gives us Ava Starr as their Ghost. We see her in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ava Starr has a tragic yet vastly different backstory than her comics companion. Caught in a quantum explosion, she developed the ability to walk through walls and go invisible.
Dad, are you seeing this?
Hope! Trained by S.H.I.E.L.D., she became a spy and an assassin. As the movie progressed, we learned that she was slowly dying to lack of quantum exposure. With S.H.I.E.L.D.'s downfall, she was drawn to Bill Foster, hoping to find a way to slow, if not stop, her dying. Honestly, she has a good story, a good backstory, and a strong skill set. But simply, she's not the Ghost that I knew from the pages of Iron Man and the Thunderbolts. Ultron is one of my all-time favorite villains. I detailed that in this video right here, and then gave him an overview of this video right here. Be sure to check those out when you get a chance. I even have the Mechanical Menace inked on my skin. Ultron was given to us in Avengers number 55 back in 1968. Built by Hank Pym, Ultron is the Avengers' greatest villain. As I have made abundantly clear in the past, I love this character. I love how he can really never ultimately be defeated. I love that he constantly is upgrading himself. And I love that when you fight Ultron, you're really trying to fight the internet itself. In those ways, I think the MCU got Ultron right. There's one thing that I just simply can't accept anytime I watch Avengers Age of Ultron. In the source material, Ultron is a cold, expressionless machine, incapable of showing, let alone having emotions. All we see is the implacable faceplate of the robot, his mouth an open maw of hate. For everything that the MCU did right with Ultron, this right here is such a miss that it throws the entire thing off for me. What is so unfortunate is how close they were at the start.
How could you be worthy? You're all killers.
Stark.
Jarvis.
I'm sorry, I was asleep. Or I was a dream.
Reboot. Legionnaire.
It was
Yes, got a buggy suit.
Terrible noise. And I was tangled in strings. Had to kill the other guy. He was a good guy.
You killed someone?
Wouldn't have been my first call. But down in the real world, we're faced with ugly choices.
Who sent you?
I see a suit of armor around the world.
Ultron.
In the flesh. Or no, not yet. Not this Christmas. But I'm ready. I'm on mission.
What mission?
Peace in our time.
This first shot of Ultron had the right feel. Its setup was beautiful and led me to believe that a cold, expressionless Ultron was actually coming. But as the movie progressed, they gave Ultron a face, and then he started cracking jokes. The humor was good and sometimes even dark, but Ultron is not a humorous villain. I understand that MCU thrives on their humor, and I love that, but this was not the character to do that with. James Spader did a great job with what he was giving, but if they had just given him a faceplate that did not move, the movie would have been a better one. This simply is not the Ultron I know. They came close, but ultimately, it's just not the same. Y'all knew this was coming. Iron Man's greatest villain. Wielder of the 10 rings. The Mandarin himself. I'm gonna be honest, this one hurt. The Mandarin was introduced to us in Tales of Suspense number 50 in 1964. For years, he has been characterized as Iron Man's greatest villain. The Mandarin is a brilliant scientist and skilled martial artist. But his real power is derived from the 10 rings. Rings of power that he crafted from the technology of a crashed alien ship. Throughout the Mandarin's history, he has had but one goal: to rule the world. Of course, with a goal like this, he's going to attract attention and opposition. Namely, in this case, that of Iron Man. It was always fun to read the battles between these two titans. The MCU even set us on a path to the Mandarin in 2008 in Iron Man, with the introduction of the 10 rings. Now, these aren't the 10 rings of power, but this is an organization dedicated to them. You see them in the hostage scenes. We then heard that Iron Man 3 was to follow the Extremis storyline and include the Mandarin. Safe to say, we were very excited to see the third installment of this franchise. But what did we get?
You're not him, the Mandarin, the real guy.
Where? Where's the Mandarin? Where is it?
Whoa, he's here. He's here, but he's not here. He's here, but he's not here.
What do you mean?
It's complicated. Hey, it's complicated,
It
right?
is.
It's complicated. My name's Trevor Slattery.
What are you? What are you, a decoy? You're a double, right?
Well, no, not a study. No, absolutely not. Don't hurt the face. I'm an actor.
You got a minute to live. Fill it with words.
Just a role. The Mandarin. See, it's not real.
Trevor. The MCU bamboozled us. They bamboozled us very hard. If we are giving them the benefit of the doubt, in the structure and narrative of the film, I guess it wasn't so horrendous. But this is not the Mandarin at all. It was so far off the mark, this almost topped the list for me. With the exception of just 2 facts. With the DVD release of Thor: The Dark World, Marvel gave us the beautiful one-shot, All Hail the King. In this, we see Trevor in prison, and it was quite humorous. We see him interviewed the entire time. It seems like the interviewer is interested in his past roles, but as the interview goes on, things take a darker turn. The questions move from his past roles to that of the 10 rings. Of course, Trevor has no idea what's going on. Eventually, we see that the interviewer was an agent for the 10 rings the whole time. Gun to Trevor's head, we learn that there is a real Mandarin out and about, and he wants his name back. So you're telling me there's a real Mandarin out there? Not Trevor, but the real Mandarin. Now, this was released 6 years ago, and still no peep of the real Mandarin after All Hail the King. Well, it is known that Shang-Chi is to feature the 10 rings yet again, with rumors of the real Mandarin making an actual appearance. A nerd can dream. "2013 gave us the darkest installment for the franchise yet. Thor: The Dark World. Thor 2 is easily my least favorite movie in the MCU. It simply did not live up to the first in my opinion. And a big reason for this? Malekith the Accursed. What a plain and vanilla character. Visually boring and stiff. Of the entire MCU rogue gallery, he is simply and easily forgettable. And let me tell you, this sucks. Malekith is the perfect Thor villain in a lot of ways. King of the Dark Elves, and ruler of the realm of Svartalfheim? Svartalfheim. This realm right here. He is a trickster to rival Loki himself. His magics are potent and his tongue is silvered. We met Malekith for the first time in Thor number 344. This elf has made many great appearances, most recently being a key player in the War of the Realms, an event that capstoned Jason Aaron's run on the Thor franchise. What's worst of all, the biggest crime that the film committed was that it simply came out just a few years too early. Malekith's best stories came out just after the movies released, like the time that Malekith sought after the 10 Rings of the Mandarin, and of course, the War of Realms. What an epic crossover that could have been. The only reason that Malekith tops this list is the sad fact that there's no chance of redemption. No Disney Plus and no future movie will be able to fix what was already given to us. When it comes to the MCU, Malekith has been ruined forever. And what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Is there a villain that I just talked about that you think maybe I was a little too harsh on? Maybe Malekith wasn't as bad as I thought? Maybe Baron Zemo just isn't flushed out yet. Give it time. Or is there someone else that you didn't like? I didn't really talk about Whiplash. I didn't really talk about... there's a lot out there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. MCU villain that you don't like. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can do me a favor by hitting the like button, hitting subscribe for all future content if you haven't already. Hit me up on my socials, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Thank you guys so much for watching. Excelsior, true believers. Till next time.